Hi, and thanks for joining today's Fireside Chat. It is my pleasure to introduce you to today's guest speaker, Adrian McCann, the CEO of ServiceCX, hosted or located out of the UK. Adrian, how are you?
Graham, really well, thank you. Nice getting time with you today. Looking forward to spending the next period of time just catching up and, chewing the fat, as they say over here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got nothing else to do, right? We're all stuck at home still. But, well, look, Adrian, I know that you're in the thick of it, at least certainly in the UK and the European area when it comes to customer experience and helping organizations digitally transform. That's the big hot topic. That's sort of the key word of 2020 and 2021. And I know, a lot of our sessions have been focused around, the impact of the pandemic, but more importantly, pandemic notwithstanding, how organizations leveraging digital transformation to really adapt and also grow within the environment that we find ourselves in. And I know that at ServiceCX, one of your specialties, you guys help companies with operational performance, with their contact center initiatives, with internal workflows. You guys evangelize ServiceNow. You obviously work with 3CLogic, Calabrio as well when it comes to workforce management, workforce optimization. So my first question, if we were to sort of take a look at things from 10,000 feet up first, is what are you seeing out there, Adrian? What are some of the biggest trends that are sort of driving the discussions that you're having with customers when you're walking in the door for the first time?
Yeah, Graham, it's a funny state of the world, right? This COVID situation, everything that we're learning daily here in the UK, we've learned that maybe things will normalise by the middle of June. But for me, some things don't change. And what doesn't change is that, frankly, the best service is no service, right? If we can be proactive and not have to serve customers, that's nirvana. I think that what's become absolutely apparent over the last year is that the contact centre is the new front door of every organisation. Whether it's retail, because you're going to go and buy your clothes, whether it's groceries, whether it's banking, we're not going to the high street anymore. What we're doing is all online. And therefore, you as an organisation don't get that second chance to make a first impression. So you've got to get it right first time. And if one then accelerates to that digital transformation, you're going to be in the winning seat. I think that if you focus on making it easy, if you focus on personalisation and automation, then you will delight customers. They will then repeat and be with you for a long time to come. There's a couple of thoughts I have around that the customer needs and wants must be at the heart of every and at the center of every business strategy. I mean, 55% of consumers are more favorable to a brand if they're proactively notified of a service or a product issue. 43% of consumers now buy more online, and also 86% of consumers will pay more for a great customer experience. And my own experience with that said, and using that word, is that you look at the gold standard of such an organization of IKEA. We're actually doing some work with them, but IKEA are exceptional. And why is that? Because it's the same experience. They are excellent with their online mobile experience, and that's led to them being a 40 billion turnover organization. So that's what I see today, Graham.
Yeah, let's be honest. When it comes to IKEA, no one has perfected, instruction manuals for building shelving like they have, right? I mean, they made the complex simple. But all right, so I totally agree with you. You talked about first impressions. I mean, look, first impressions. That's the fact that they matter and have or play a huge role in long-term outcomes is not new. But the way in which we establish first impressions has obviously been completely turned on its head. You mentioned contact centers are now the revolving front door. Totally agree with you. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are the challenges and trends that are sort of now materializing as a result of that shift in business model, right? It's not foot traffic. Is it call traffic, digital traffic? Tell me about a little bit what you're seeing.
Yeah, I've been doing this for quite some time, Graham, and therefore for me, the trends and challenges, what I see, it's largely about the alignment of people, processes and technology, right? It's the old adage, that's what we've come to learn and think about. And the reason I raise that is because every organization has one key focus. They have shareholders and they've got to drive shareholder value. And you do that increasing revenue, reducing costs and increasing customer satisfaction or net promotion. These all drive loyalty. And if you if you drive loyalty, we go back to my last comments that's really what is nirvana in this state of customer journey, customer excellence. And what do I mean by that? So for me, fierce customer loyalty is about, it's about an end user that's going to stay longer, spend more, create advocacy, and reduce the cost to serve. So in order to do that, you've got to personalize, you've got to manage expectations, build trust and empathy. You've got to reduce that time to effort and ensure there's a resolution. If we do those things as an enterprise organization, we take control. We then increase that net promoter. We drive promotion. And with that, it's that transition from reactive to proactive, served to self-serve. So combining, in my simple view, customer engagement and service operations. If you can do that well, then you're ahead of the game. I have a great example where people are challenged and where things don't connect and where things are not joined up. I recently made contact to my bank because one of my employees' international transfer, it didn't arrive 2 weeks after being sent for salary run. So what did I do? I called this bank that shall remain nameless, and I was identified and verified. They had natural language call steering. So date of birth, account number. I was then asked, my voice is my password, got through, and about 40 minutes after passing through the IVR, I got through to a customer service rep. Brilliant. However, the customer service rep, in asking me what I wanted, then realized that they couldn't serve me. I needed to be put through to another team called International Payments. That was a 40-minute delay. I got through to International Payments and I sat for 5 minutes in the IVR, being further identified and verified, both in the IVR and through the individual. Incredibly, the call then dropped. I had to go back to stage one. I had to go and dial the contact center in the UK using that number. And it was awful. The experience was something you just don't want. I wasted 3.5 hours 2 weeks ago in that same day just to get a simple answer. So you can see that there are challenges. And in that world of banking, you've got the likes of Monzo Bank, Chime, Revolut, Metro Bank. These are the businesses that are thinking about the customer, that are driving fierce customer loyalty because they personalize, they manage expectations. My bank at the moment, they're stuck in the old world. And if they don't change, if they don't move on, they will fail. And these challenges will come to the fore.
Yeah, and I would imagine that a lot of that has to do, it's not the agent's fault, right? A lot of that has to do, when we talk about digital transformation, it's really how can you leverage technology to really optimize those engagements and optimize the agent. In many cases, the agents are toggling through however many number of systems that hold different siloed bits and pieces of your customer background. Or they may not even have access to the one system, in your example, that can actually allow them to resolve your inquiry to begin with. So a lot of digital transformation seems to be around, okay, how do we actually get that, what everyone has dreamed and talked about, which is a consolidated view of the customer that then allows you to be proactive, efficient, maybe remove the mundane tasks, right? Once you consolidate systems, you can offer self-service in a more effective manner and really, leverage the human aspect for the more complex inquiries. Maybe they're sensitive in nature and things of that nature. So I guess this gets to when you talk about the technical debt, all right, that potentially digital transformation is trying to solve for. What are the platforms or what are the tools that you're or processes that you're evangelizing with customers when you're going in and looking for ways to optimize what they have? How are you solving for that today?
Yeah. Do you know, because I've spent so long looking at this and working through, for me, again, it's about seamless. It's about making it simple and effortless for customers. And so in times gone by, it's been very much the focus of me to think about the likes of an Avaya and a Cisco or a Genesis 5.9, think Amazon Connect. It's about connectivity, or let me use the word interaction. So enabling for me to communicate via an IVR, via CTI integration, omni-channel, think workforce optimization, complex analytics, business information, chat, artificial AI, if you will. All those things are great. It means I can get through into an organization, and then what? It's excellent that I am now into an enterprise, but what can the agent do? Well, what they can do is hopefully, to a second view, they can hopefully recognize me. So via a system of record versus interaction, and think, when I say system of record, think Salesforce, think SAP, think Microsoft, Great. So now I'm in the contact center and they know who I am. Hopefully they can serve me. But do you know what? They're still a bit missing, because more often than not, despite the fact I'm there and they know who I am, they still aren't able to give me what I want. So what completes the circle for me, and that I've learned in the last couple of years, because we've been really, really focused around service now, is that they complete the story. What they're able to do is what I'd refer to as action, workflow. They ultimately ensure that there is self-service, that there is precision routing of work, but very simply, it's connecting front, middle, and back office. So there's a joined up story. So when I'm engaged, the customer, the organization knows who I am, what I'm going to want, ultimately serves me and gets me to a point of satisfaction. That is fierce customer loyalty. Combining all of those is incredible. So, I need to ensure, if it's me that I'm working with an end user, that we meet the requirements of the organization, that we ensure ease of implementation and integration. You want to surface as much as possible in one user interface. Let's get all relevant data there at the fingertips of contact center. I think it's really important, whether it's 30% or 50, 55%, subject to who you talk to, it's ensuring seamless telephony as well. If you can integrate analytics, transcription services, and ensure the embedding of agent telephony controls into that one user interface, you are so far ahead. No swivel chair, proactive, as we've mentioned. If I could be served and you could tell me about a problem you fixed before I knew it was a problem, that's just incredible.
Yeah, you just brought up an interesting use case, or you're suggesting that, and using your example with the banking, for example, as you went through a telephony or contact center experience, only to land on an agent that couldn't help you because that environment was not connected to where the data and the workflows that allow the agent to perform or solve for the inquiry reside, right? And what you were suggesting is, if you flipped it on its head and instead built telephony or contact centers as an extension of that system of record, you use ServiceNow as an example, you can actually drive a lot more meaningful difference, customer experience, personalized experience, because now the contact center is tapping into or leveraging that information in real time, not just to guide the person to a queue, but to guide them to an agent who is actually versed and has the information available to them, because the systems are so intertwined. I think that's what we together at 3CLogic, ServiceNow, and ServiceCX are working towards, right? Is breaking down the silos of contact center, CRM, so to speak, and instead merging them so it's one complete offering, correct?
Absolutely. That coming together of service operations, customer experience, customer journey, or customer engagement, bring that together, connect the dots, make it really simple. That's exactly what we're aiming for. And it's intuitive. Why wouldn't you start there rather than, something's broken, let's try and fix it? No, let's think ground up. Let's be lateral of mind. It's so compelling, I feel.
Yep. So you've got an interaction platform, but then you've got a system of action. And when you combine the two, then the interactions can be proactive as opposed to always reactive, because that system of action is helping you engage in meaningful ways. The other point you made, which was interesting, is look, you're advocating that, look, if the model has moved from foot traffic to digital traffic, yes, self-service is key to a successful business model. I don't think anybody's debating that, but you're not advocating or evangelizing the fact that people are going to stop wanting to speak to representatives of an organization, right? You mentioned first impressions. Likely when people call, it's because they have an issue. So do you think that the role of the contact center or voice as a channel relative to digital channels, I mean, is the distribution going to remain relatively the same, but the expectations in terms of the level of service, the sophistication of that service is where the pressure resides? Is that your take?
Well, yeah, for me, Graham, it's about what do you see as the future? What is going to happen? As I said, it's reactive to proactive. It's served to self-served. And I think three things. I think it's about making it effortless for the consumer. I think, yes, whether it's enabling knowledge bases, whether it's provisioning catalogs to be able to demand and request things, whether it is through being effortless, whether it's then that connected play, so combining front, middle, and back office, and being proactive to just predict issues. Let's fix the thing that the customer didn't know was broken, and then tell them that we fixed something that they didn't ever need about, that's a great service. So I have a sense that everything online today that in terms of internet traffic, that comes from our mobile devices. It comes from the handhelds that we work through, Guillaume. I mentioned my view of voice. That's going to play a part into the future, whether it is 30% or 55%, voice is going to remain, which is why combining that user interface with agent telephony controls is so vital. So it makes it easy for the agent. And I say that because today it is about being online. So both customers and agents, they aren't going back onto the high street. They aren't going into those big, large buildings that historically known as a contact center. They are going to be online. So let's make it easy for customers. Let's make it seamless for agents, bring that experience together as one. If you get it right as an organization, you will drive fierce customer loyalty, and those consumers will feel everything that I mentioned around you're creating for them: personalization, empathy, managing expectations, building trust. That to me is the future. And I kind of said a number of things a number of times because I think it is so real, so prevalent, and it's near to my heart.
Yeah. So what are the biggest things that excite you in the coming future when you look at customer experience? I mean, we've talked a lot about where you think it's headed. Over the next 2-3 years. I mean, is that how long it's going to take to get there? Or there's everyone's saying that the pandemic took 5-year plans and shortened them down to 1-year plans, 6-month plans. Is that a reasonable expectation to try and fit everything in that quickly, or is it just that it's cutting through all the bureaucratic red tape at some of these large enterprises where now they can make, or they're being forced to make some of these decisions sooner because the pandemic has accelerated the need to?
Yeah, well, rather selfishly, I'm going to suggest that what I see and what I hope and what I'm excited about is to consult with organizations who actually understand what you and I have been talking about, who take a step back and think, okay, I have to put the customer at heart and center of all of my strategic decisions, because if I can create an environment where my customers are happy, then they're going to spend more. They're going to help me reduce my costs because I'm not going to need as many agents, and 70-80% of the costs of an organization happens to be staff. And you know what? That's going to push up my net promoter score. Those promoters are going to lead to more people coming to me. And to that end, I'm excited about having those real conversations about the real business drivers of organizations. What is it they're trying to achieve? How do we make it easy for their customers? How do we make it easy for them as an organization to drive that shareholder value? That's what I really look forward to. I look forward to people saying, okay, let's start with a blank piece of paper. Let's not throw it, I'm not going to throw away all of my investments. Let's leverage the investments. Let's make sure we can integrate. Let's use APIs, and let's get that one system of action into play so that we start delighting those that need to be served by us.
Yeah, that's really the big theme, right? Is reducing the technical debt to a few platforms that are capable of providing that consolidated system of action, so that other systems, would be at the call center, your digital channels, whatever, but that interaction layer can now rely on a single source to drive, more personalized experiences, better optimization for the agents. And of course, at the end of the day, we're trying to help, the C-suites and the administrators of those teams to also have the analytics and the visibility to be able to manage and pivot as they see fit. This all makes sense, Adrian. I appreciate your time. For those of you that enjoyed Adrian's comments, but may have questions of your own, by all means, feel free to put a comment or question in the comment box below, and myself or Adrian will be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. Adrian, always a pleasure to have you, especially given that you're really at the ground floor when it comes to customer experience, certainly in the region that you serve in Europe. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit with us and speak to the audience. I hope to have you again soon, but thanks again for your time.
Graham, thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege. Look forward to catching up with you again in the not too distant.
Likewise. I'll talk to you soon, Adrian.
Thanks, Graham. Take care.
Bye.